broadcast is inappropriate for all ages. Right here on hashtag WeAreMovieClub. I am Cameron.
And I'm Creepy Campy.
And we're here today to talk about what?
Oh, we're talking about the voices.
The voices in your head?
Yep.
I guess they're voices in all our heads, really.
Or coming out of animal mouths.
Oh, but that was projection, remember? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, borderline spoilers. It's really hard to talk about this. I tried practicing. I really did. It's really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it.
I just say, because the trailer, I would think, has... have you watched any trailers?
Yeah, and I was really thinking about the premise of the movie in general, and that they give away a lot in the premise. Because it's less about the anticipation, it's more about the journey.
Yeah.
But it's 2015, Ryan Reynolds, called The Voices. It's available on Hulu currently, right? That's where you watched it?
That's correct.
Along with the poster over your bed of Ryan Reynolds, I'm sure.
I do love me some Ryan Reynolds.
I don't blame you in the slightest. Nice piece of man meat he is.
He is good looking.
Yeah,
and that's got cooking.
And that's what it is. And he's completely lovable. I've been a big Ryan Reynolds fan all the way from Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, all the way through Deadpool to The Voices.
That's right. So this is our second movie out of 3 that have or star Ryan Reynolds.
Now I want to do the proposal for a choice.
Oh god, I just watched that the other day. Actually,
it's a good movie. It's romantic and sweet, except for Sandra Bullock's rap song. But
oh boy.
But we're here to talk about The Voices today, and we'll come back to Sandra B another time.
Yes.
So for our spoiler-free segment, I suggest we just do what I would call minimal spoilers as opposed to spoiler-free.
Sounds good.
Because you really can't. Because the basis, the premise of it is that this lonely guy is...
Yeah, he's kind of awkward a little bit.
Definitely. He's on the scale.
Yes.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, then maybe you're fortunate, but there's an autism scale where like Asperger's and all these other things pop up, and it's a social disorder scaling. And he's definitely on there.
Oh, yeah.
So he's in love with this British girl in accounting. He works at a bathtub factory. Yeah,
they make bathtubs and showers and toilets. Stuff like that. Yeah.
So I guess it's a porcelain factory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Porcelain bathroom fixtures.
There you go. So, and I don't know why. Like, that's the thing. Like, I get she's supposed to be the arbitrarily hot girl in the office.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the other characters, you've got a plus-size woman and you've got a little mousy girl.
Right.
Which, by the trope, I'm not saying those people are not attractive. I'm saying by the trope, it's usually the loud alpha lady.
That grabs the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, is she's a bitch, so she has enough control to make her interesting.
Yeah.
And you see her be a bitch to the other girls, and they're still really friendly. Though I think Lisa has some other problems. We'll get to Lisa later, because I'd love to talk about that character for each of these characters in depth for a while. But we're not going to go too deep because we're going to try to make this a little faster.
Yes.
So he works there. He's in love with her, and then the whole point of the movie to make it interesting is that he hears his pets talk.
Yep.
Which implicates any number of things.
That, I think the main one being that, he's not just awkward, he's got some issues.
Yeah, so you could go with he's crazy, you can go with the animals are magical. Like, you really don't know, and I'm not trying to spoil it, but they don't give away the answer too quickly.
Right.
But again, this is not a movie that's based on the anticipation. It's about the journey of everything. So giving you information actually helps the enjoyment of the movie to me.
Oh, I agree.
But and you and I watch movies a little bit differently because we're used to analyzing the movie. So for general enjoyment, I can see where this wouldn't take off. in that respect.
Mm.
Can you?
Oh, just like general enjoyment of just like watching it versus analyzing it, or
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know you watch it. You usually watch them a couple times. If I can, I'll do it in one shot, taking notes now.
yeah.
I used to do it in one shot, and if I couldn't remember it, then it wasn't important enough to talk about.
I gotcha. Okay.
But now that I'm doing our scene by scene, I'm taking notes throughout the whole thing. It's an even different process because I used to just watch movies and be like, oh, that was really good, and I like this and this and this, and they were usually like tropey things that show up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like since we started, or since I started reviewing movies like on camera, it became a very different process to watch a movie for a video.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely very different because you're trying to, instead of just like being in the moment and analyze and just like enjoying it, you are kind of analyzing it a little bit more, or trying to pick up things that are interesting to discuss. And if you're kind of trying to figure out if there's some hidden meaning behind things and that sort of stuff too. So
yeah, to keep it short, I would akin it to knowing how magic tricks work. And so when you watch people do magic tricks, you're like, oh yeah, he's doing this, this, and this, instead of just being amazed.
Right.
So it's a very similar feeling, and it's not that like I enjoy the movie less, but I feel like I really get more out of it. But like my brain's just a little bit more active than passive.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so
Yep.
that was a
No, you're
nice
right.
little aside. But that's an important thing to note when you're watching this movie and you're trying to talk about it without spoiling it, is that like there's these things and the movie sets it up a certain way. So you know, based on the clues that are given early in the movie, that these things are happening and that they may or may not come back up later repeatedly.
Right.
And I'm trying to think, where do we end the spoiler free? Because I wanna say enough without too much. He is obviously in therapy. That comes up real early.
Yeah, I think kind of just like the overall. I mean, for me, the spoiler-free zone is just mainly kind of giving an overall like feel and idea of what the movie's about, and yeah, just kind of like the feel of the movie.
Okay, then let's talk about that. How did you?
Yeah.
How did you, without spoiling, how did you feel about the movie?
I really enjoyed it. I kind of like weird movies. It's definitely weird.
It's not a happy movie though.
No,
it has
guess
some beautiful
not.
moments, but
Yeah, I think there's aspects to it that kind of offset the darkness of the whole storyline, that make it a little bit, or that just it helps offset that darkness. Like his character being he's very lovable. He's kind of a lovable character, and I think the fact that they make the main. I guess this is gonna getting into spoiler stuff. I can talk about this later. It's so hard, right?
Yeah, it really is. That's why I'm just trying to say, like, how does it make you feel? Like, I will say, however much I really enjoyed it, and I think it is for writing, not necessarily much else. And Ryan Reynolds, of course, for leading role. Like, I think it's award worthy, but I get that most people would never consider nominating it, especially since afterwards I was like, I gotta watch something else. And so I put on the Muppets. So like it did involve a cleanser.
Yeah.
Which is
I can
like
see that.
Yeah, which was the reaction to Watchmen. Like when I went and first saw it, everyone with me was like, I need something happy in my life.
Yeah.
Like literally, people were calling their wives and shit. It's like, really? It's just a movie. But this was definitely that direction. So I think with that, we'll end the spoiler free there, unless you have something else.
No, that's it. That's pretty much all I have.
Yeah, it's really hard to talk about this. I would say, honestly, do not be afraid to keep watching or listening to this if you only like spoiler free stuff, because this is not a movie you can talk about. But you can make your own decision. But this is not a movie that you can really talk about freely without spoilers, because it's about the nitty gritty that really makes the movie interesting.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Okay, so with that, we'll jump into scene by scene, and then we'll talk about some of that nitty gritty as we go, and a little bit afterwards.
Sounds good.
Okay, so one of the things I don't like when I'm taking notes that happens a lot in this movie, it feels like, is that they flip back and forth between different storylines.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but they rapidly converge. So, like, it's obviously going somewhere. It's a good mechanic, and it's a good cinematic tool to use.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm not used to taking notes yet. So, like, when they're flipping back and forth between scenes, I'm like, oh, new scene. Okay, what's happening in the scene?
Yeah.
So, like, there's some of these, I'm sure, where, like, it'll bleed together, and I'll be like, oh, that's what happened. Okay, so, of course, we open on Welcome to Milton. Population 4,304.
So, yeah, pretty small town.
Yeah, the number's not important. The point of the number is to just tell you it's a small town.
Yeah.
So I would like to see a movie sometime where it just says a small town.
That would be cool.
And then we go into the opening credits really quickly, I thought, and there's pets and blood and credits, because the credits aren't the first thing you see. It's like black, and then a blood splash, and then a dog, I think, and then
the cat kind of jumps over like a saw blade going through the black scenery, and yeah.
Boy. And then we hit pink jumpsuits. I'm like, did I turn on Breaking Bad on accident? Because I have no idea that they look like in that show, but it's what is in my head.
Yeah.
And then it's a bathtub factory, and it's like, okay.
Like, sure.
Yeah, and then, okay, so then we go into the factory, and then we have Mr. Kowalski. Which, I thought he was a fun character for how little he's around.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously a mechanic just to be used to turn the story when we need it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got 2 major scenes, and I just thought he was a cute little addition. But the first one sets up the company party, which is like the first major plot point.
Yeah.
Because it's that fantasy moment where he finally gets the opportunity to directly impress the girl that he's in love with. Did we establish how he even fucking knows her?
My guess is, I think that he interacts with her at some point just from, like, going to pick up his paycheck or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it is a small town, and she is, like, the only British person.
Yes.
So that might have something to do with it. But
yeah,
how does Lisa know him? Oh, she knows him because he's obsessed with her. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so... and then there's that weird moment where they start rapidly talking over each other. Like, did you get that? Did you get why that was a choice?
I don't know. Was that just like, are you talking about like when they're still back at the...
Well, because he gets them to say yes to contributing to the party.
Oh, right.
And then after he says, like, Fiona will be there, because he actually uses it against him. And he goes, yes, and then he starts talking, and then the boss is still talking, and they're both smiling and fucking yapping their mouth, and I didn't catch any of the thing, and I was just like, what happened? And maybe that was perspective into Ryan Reynolds' character?
I think it's just kind of like a way to set up the awkwardness of it. I have it up, and so I'm just kind of like queuing up some of the parts that you're talking about, just to kind of.
But you saw what I'm talking about. That's what you were laughing at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay, then he goes home because he's got this big fantasy in his head, and he sees Bosco the dog, and then we hear a Scottish voice in the background that sounds an awful lot like Reynolds. I'm
gonna let you do all the voices to that.
Sure. Who's a good boy? I'm a good boy. I earned the right to be a good boy. Sorry, that dog was a great character. I really liked him.
Yeah,
Mr.
the
Whiskers.
dog's pretty good.
I felt bad for that cat. I really did. It looked scared 90% of the movie.
Oh, just like the actual cat itself?
Yeah. Like, when he's in the oh, we'll get there, but when he's in the bathroom, I felt so bad for that cat. He was just...
Oh, yes.
frightened.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so...
But yeah, I just like how the cat, too, is just like, you're an unstable crybaby.
The cat did some mad shit talking.
He's like, I'm not a crybaby. It's like, yeah, you are. You're an unstable crybaby. It's just like,
you're fucking worthless.
Yeah.
It's like all your insecurities put into a cat. And then he yells, shut up, and then we hit the opening title. And then we're at the party. Like, I honestly expected it to be like this story building up to the company party being the climax.
Wait, does he go to the party for? I thought he goes to the psychiatrist's office and is talking to her about going to the party.
You are correct. I think.
And then he's
I
all
didn't
talking about
find
like
it
how they're going to do
interesting
conga.
at the time, so I didn't note it.
Oh yeah.
And that's my
I
bad.
think that's kind of where you established a little bit though that it's like, oh well, he's seeing somebody. You have to kind of bring the psychiatrist lady into the story at some point because she does factor into something that happens later too. But.
Yeah, it didn't seem relevant other than to establish he's in therapy until the next scene where like she does her checklist.
Yeah.
And then like, but like in a romantic comedy, which is what the joke is that like that would be it'd be the big office party would be the climax, and that would be where he has his opportunity and he gets it up the chance to be with her, and then see that she's a bitch and he should be with Lisa.
Right, yeah, they definitely do jump into it very quickly, and...
Well, and that's on purpose, because that's not the real story. It's a subset of the major story.
Right, exactly.
Which you have no way of knowing if you watch this blind. And I would have given anything to know nothing about this movie other than watch this. Because it would have been a completely different experience.
Yeah.
So, company party meeting, just cringe.
Oh my gosh, I know, where he's like...
Yeah.
And he's like, can you just hold your thoughts until we're going to go around the table? And he's just like, I just wanted to say, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh, no. He told you to be quiet. Shh.
Yeah, it's like, no one cares, buddy. No one cares. Fiona's a flighty British lady. We have a conga conversation, which I have no idea why that's a thing. Why was that the thing?
I have no idea either, yeah.
The therapist was
about
confused, too.
But, yeah.
Oh, that's right. So the therapy happens after the meeting, but not before the party.
Right.
Or,
yep,
but before the party.
I was going to say, I'm like, oh, we totally forgot about the meeting thing where they're talking about the party. Yeah.
Yeah, so and then we've got a couple like side characters, Mr. Apathy, an angry lesbian feminist, and a stuck-up Indian guy, and then we find out that he's an emotional eater.
That's right.
He ate like a whole slice of pizza in one go. Like, I was like, oh man, impressed but scared.
You're like, yikes!
Okay, so then we go to the therapist's office. We find out he's on meds. He's obviously socially problematic. This therapist is expecting suicidal thoughts and voices, which is a huge foreshadow. And then he's just way too excited about a conga.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be infinitely confused about that.
I think that's just the way you're meant to feel about it, right? A little bit confused.
But no, because she's a normal person. She's actually like a stereotypical stuck-up bitch, and she's excited about it.
Oh, are you talking about Fiona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, whatever.
Yeah, because they don't really, I mean, yeah, they show them doing the conga, but they don't ever, like, come back to it at any point in time later.
Yeah, and so it's not really an important thing, but they build it up like it is. And he's actually 3 people behind Fiona when that happens, so he's not even, like, right there with her.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, so he's going to be a beta bitch for this movie. Which was, like, it's fine because a lot of movies turn that around, but this isn't that movie. Well, it is, but it isn't. So he, like, him dancing like a fool, and then, like, I can only assume he imagined butterflies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they come up a couple times. I swear to God, when he comes home, the cat in the first scene and Mr. Whiskers are not the same cat.
Oh, no.
Like, the first one actually looked gray to me, and then, like, so I made a note that it looked like a different cat, but maybe I just had a moment of colorblindness or something. But then he's a Scottish cat named Mr. Whiskers, and he is the voice of insecurity and anxiety in our main character. But the dog talks too, and he counters the thing, and it's very much like having an angel and a devil on your shoulder.
Definitely, yeah.
And if you lead off like all dogs go to heaven and just the basic actions of any cat, it makes sense.
Definitely.
I should know. Isn't that right, Little? That's right. Fuck you. And like we could have a very long conversation about relatable insecurities and anxieties, because as it's said later in the movie, like everyone has these feelings. It is a very normal thing to have. but it's about how you deal with it. I'm sure, like, you and I could have very personal conversation that we probably don't want to have on air about, like, what it is to feel insecure and anxiety in general about situations. And and it happens. Like, I just wanted to know that you could relate to it as well, or if you're just gonna call me a weirdo. Like,
you're so weird. I mean, like, oh my god.
I'm totally with you, Becky. Back at the factory, Gary's happy to the point of being annoying.
Oh yeah, he's just like singing, and they're like, "Hey, calm down.
Yeah,
just
Tom,
take it down."
Yeah, Tom. That's what his name is. He's grumpy. I was really expecting Tom to come back, like, and be a recurring character, but I don't think he comes back the entire movie. So it's really weird the characters they introduce and when they introduce them, other than the main 5 characters, the 3 ladies, Reynolds, and the therapist.
Yeah, I think like the police officer kind of a little bit too, a couple of times maybe. Because remember, like, the police officer sees him in the hardware.
Oh, the sheriff.
Parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's more on the same level with the manager, because I was really expecting the sheriff to get more involved because of that scene when he drives up on him, because obviously he was going to go back to look for the deer. And then maybe find the remains, which he did, but that part wasn't really on camera. It was just the news report later.
Right.
Okay, so back in the office, Fiona's doing "Fuck Me" lipstick, and then we get to see Anna Kendrick, who I didn't know was in the movie, so I was really excited. And, like, Fiona's
got because we had talked about it. I thought that she was in the movie.
I forgot
last week, but
I just knew at the time. I was excited because I was like, "Oh, it's her."
Yeah.
Because she's great. She's one of those people that, like, if she's in a movie, I can probably watch it and not think it's shit.
Right.
And Fiona's hot and all. She's got some bodacious curves. Like, she's got the fair skin I've got a thing for. But, like, I don't know. She wasn't cuter than Anna Kendrick. It's really weird to see, like, hot people, because it happens the other way too, put in roles that are, like, supposed to be roles where it's like, oh, she's not really that attractive.
Right.
It's like, no, it's Anna Kendrick. She was the hotter of the two.
Yeah, definitely. And because it's funny when you mentioned her as, like, the mousy one earlier. I was just like, well, yeah, I guess I could see it, but still not really, though.
Well, no, and mousy in personality. She very much betas to the others. Like, there's one scene where she bitches out completely. But I was like, oh, there's obviously going to be this great love triangle we're going to work with and use throughout the movie, and fucking nope. Like, it goes, like, 3 scenes and it's done. Because Lisa likes Gary, who likes Fiona, and of course they're all gossip whores in that office. So
yep.
So at the bar, like, because I go out for drinks, that's right. Fiona's a bitch. I know karate, which is something you almost never have the opportunity to bring up. So shouldn't. So I think that was a good choice for, like, awkward conversation. Don't you think?
Yeah. It's like, who just comes out and says that?
Yeah, I don't know what line I would have put there besides. There's probably like a whole 20 minutes of extra lines for that.
I'm sure. Just say some random thing like, I used to live near a subway.
I used to hang out under a bridge. I don't know, like, what's your favorite bridge? That's actually a really good one. Credit to Hank Green for that one. Because he actually asks people that.
Nice.
So, yeah, Lisa gives him a crunchy choo-choo, which I felt that was so specifically named that it was more important than it ever will be in my entire life. Like, I was like, oh, that's got to be important. So I made sure I noted it. Okay, so super awkward cringe. Gary's put in a position where he has to choose between Lisa and Fiona.
Oh, it's Jerry.
Yeah, I felt so bad for everyone at that table. So Lisa bitches out and takes a cab right after giving him a sandwich, and then he agrees to give her a ride home, and then changes to Fiona. When in reality, he could have given them both a lift home.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he was in a pickup truck, and I mean, so there's limited space, but
it's a perfect scenario. If we were doing the romantic comedy aspect, it's the perfect addition because it determines who sits where.
right, that's true. That's true.
And I personally would have put Lisa in the middle and Fiona on the other side because then he's looking past Lisa at the girl he likes, and it makes it awkward on Lisa, and it gives her a chance to come back and either prove herself and get the guy that she wants, or get out of the situation. There's a lot more positive things you can do with that.
Right.
Other than like Fiona cuddling up to him from the middle and then her staring at the window just being sad. Which I think would be the more cinematic thing to do.
Yeah.
But Gary's a dick and he takes Fiona home by themselves
his name's Jerry.
Jerry, what am I saying?
Gary.
I am not trying to say Gary, I'm trying to say Jerry. So I apologize.
That's okay.
But Jerry's a dick, and did he eat the crunchy choo-choo in like one go as well?
Yeah, he just like was like and just like got up because they all got up to like leave real quick. It seemed like. I
want to amend that because as much as I love seeing you like mime things into your mouth, you did this thing where it looks like he's eating chips, and like it was literally just like, here's a hamburger.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know who does that after a hamburger. Maybe after like a Sprite or something. But
yeah.
Oh gosh, it's Sprite after a Jones. If I gotta promote a soda, I'm not gonna do Coca-Cola. Fuck them. Okay, so look, a letter from Coca-Cola. No. So on the car ride home, Fiona's a bit aloof at best. She was a bitch. I was being nice there.
Yeah. And he's still just, like, so smitten with her to the point where he's like, oh, we should go, do you like Chinese food? And, like, we should go out or whatever.
Yeah, he makes a date that she doesn't actually agree to.
Right.
But they both are of the understanding that she agreed to it, even though she didn't want to.
Right.
Because later she's hiding from him like a child.
Yeah, he shows up in the office to give her, like, he's like, oh, she needed to know where to go. So he had a little postcard with the name of the restaurant on it, and gives it to Lisa, who just looks kind of like, I think she looks a little bit bummed about it, but, I think she kind of figures, like, well...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, she doesn't appear just, like, really upset. She doesn't, like, look at him and be like, well, yeah, I'll give it to her and, like, toss it away or something like that, or just be like, oh, she could have been a bitch even to her and just been like, oh, Fiona, Jerry's here to see you, and but
that's not even being
as she's hiding behind
being a bitch. That would be the play. Like Fiona convinced two other people to let her hide under the desk like a child.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting Fiona was legitimately like out of the office, like not in the room, and then Lisa was going to take the card and then get rid of it.
Right.
And that was going to be the premise for Fiona missing the date, and then he was going to act out somehow, and then he would find out it was Lisa's fault and go after her.
Right. Yeah, and that would be the stereotypical, like, romantic comedy type thing to do. Yeah. But no, the case is she's hiding. She doesn't show up to the date. She's like, oh, we're supposed to, because the heavier girl is like, oh, we're supposed to do karaoke tonight or whatever, so they go to do that instead. And he's sitting, what I find hilarious is that he's sitting in the restaurant by himself. There's literally no one else in that restaurant eating.
I want to say,
do you notice that?
There was like 3 people. Okay.
I feel like they make it seem like pretty apparent, like just like the look and feel of it is just like there's nobody else there, and he's just hanging out by himself watching the karate guy do his thing, his moves.
Chinese Elvis.
Yes.
I was distracted by Chinese
singing,
Elvis.
And then there's a guy doing like karate moves. And yeah, I mean, like he's sitting. If you look, he's sitting in the restaurant, just like staring and talking to the fish in the bowl, and just.
And that was way too big a fish to put in that bowl.
Yeah,
I felt bad for the fish.
Right.
I don't like fish in bowls. Even betas, you can put them in a tank. You just got to be careful what else you put in there.
Yeah, but yeah. So they all leave from the karaoke then, and. What are you laughing about? Did I miss something you said?
No, I was. It's like you were like, "Fuck your pet talk. Let's get on to the movie," which was good. That's the right move.
I want to make sure we, keep it flowing forward.
Yeah, you're right. I was just gearing up because it's irritating. Anyways, so they're singing for whatever, and then Allison's rapping. Oh baby, I like it raw. With the punchline that she's the big girl, like I didn't like that idea, but I still thought it was funny that like she got up there and like started rapping and being sexual, just because I think those kind of jokes are funny. Because most people wouldn't do that in public.
Right.
But I now, in retrospect, I have a feeling like the punchline was that like it's the unattractive girl talking about getting laid, and like she's not bad looking, she's just plus size.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just what it is. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah. So they leave from the karaoke and it's like pouring outside, and Fiona goes to get her car and it won't start up. So then she's trying to like figure something out, flag somebody down, and just happens to have Jerry drive by her.
What was that fucking music he was listening to?
I have no idea.
Like, yeah, you don't even know. Like, I was just like, I knew it was sad music, but
yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's like, who has that on hand? Like, it's just he's making the situation worse.
I know.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Where were we?
Yeah, he picks her up.
Fiona? Yep.
And, he goes talking about just like, I mean, he's just very apparently kind of sad too. Just like, he's sitting in his car, like, just like wiping away tears and things. Yeah, so she just like it's basically your like just kind of abusing the situation and just being kind of a bitch and just like, oh well, I didn't go out with you. I mean, if it was someone like me, if I'd saw that, I'd just be like, oh fuck no, I will find another ride home. Like unless it was.
She recognized him and she flagged him down, yelling his name.
Yeah.
Like most people would have avoided that and flagged down the next car.
Exactly. Well, she deserves what she gets what's coming to her. She gets the wrath of crazy Ryan Reynolds Jerry, who decides to... Yeah, he's all talking to her about, like, he asked her a question, or it was like a riddle or something about the names of the angels.
It's a trivia question about who are the four angels.
That's right.
And, but there's like two things I feel are important.
Okay.
That she actually takes her top off in front of him.
Oh, right.
And so, like, immediately in my head, I was like, oh, they're going to get in a wreck. So it was kind of a foreshadowing thing. So it's the first useful thing I've seen where, like, for someone to take their top off.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it was actually a mechanic of foreshadowing. And then, of course, he gives her a blanket because he's sweet. He asks her for hot chocolate, and then she's like, let's go get greasy food and drunk or something. So she bullies him into this other thing, just like she bullied Lisa.
Yeah.
And then there's office costume. Oh, he sees her as an angel.
Right. And that must be where, like, that's probably what he thought of the trivia question.
Yeah,
from.
But it's the first time that we see, like, a definite, like, altered reality. He is not seeing the world the same way as everyone else is.
Yeah.
Which is a huge clue for the rest of the movie. And I sympathize, because, like, I've been in that situation where it's like, oh, she's just so pretty. And your brain stops working, even though she's probably not a good person.
Yeah.
But the four angels thing, because it was, what, Michael and...
Gabriel and Raphael, I think.
Raphael, yeah, you're right. And then he's like, you're forgetting he's an angel. And I'm just like, who is he fucking talking about? Like, I actually got so distracted, I forgot what the movie was doing. And then all of a sudden...
Boom!
He hits a reindeer. Like, what the fuck? Like, where are they that he can actually hit a reindeer?
Well, is it like an actual reindeer, or is it just like it's just a regular deer?
It's not a deer. It's a reindeer. It's big enough. It was way bigger than a normal deer. It was the wrong color, and the horns were wrong. Deer have, like, antlers that do this double branching thing. The deer that he hit had, like, the dark swoop with the little notches.
Oh.
You could probably find it quicker than I can find it. But
Yeah,
that's
I was
not.
looking at it, but I keep like skipping too far forward to the part where the deer's all like, "You gotta do it. Like you gotta just kill me."
Yeah, they're far enough north. It's believable. I couldn't imagine. Yeah, so it like asked him to cut his throat. It's like, what the fuck is happening?
Right?
Because I wasn't ready for it. I was still trying to figure out who the fucking angel was.
Right?
But he cuts its throat and like it sprays blood all over her. She freaks out, like runs off. Or
Yeah.
no, he yells at her first. Like the fourth angel is Lucifer.
Oh God.
And I was like, oh, I watched that show.
Oh God.
It's such a great moment. If you like slasher movies and stuff,
Oh,
my
my
God, is that a
God.
great moment.
Oh.
Okay, so then he runs after her, and I didn't even see this part coming. I was like, oh, this is where it happens. But, like, she trips, and he trips, and, like, part of me is like, oh, he tripped and fell in her. And then, like, I see what's happening. I'm like, oh, well, something's in her. Because that's where she's stabbed.
Yeah.
And, of course, like, they do it, like, really slow bleeding to death and everything. And if he had just put her in the truck, took her to the hospital, maybe she would have lived. But we already saw there was a problem with the deer because it was suffering.
So yeah, I think he's probably, at the same rate as probably thinking to himself, "Oh, I gotta do to her what I did to it," the deer.
But you saw what happens is like he doesn't like. Oh no, he stabs her in the throat once, right? No, right in the heart. Like
Yeah.
he actually like it looks like he very clearly nicks the artery there, and so but then he just. I'm sorry, stab. I'm sorry. Like, just over and over. What the fuck?
Well, and it's weird because it's like he doesn't do it like very quickly. He's not like like violently stabbing or anything to begin with. Like he just like kind
worse.
He just sort of like sets the knife like on her chest and is kind of like twisted around a little bit, and then it's just like, just kind of slowly pushes it in, and then. Afterwards, once she's like pretty much dead, that's when he's like, I'm sorry, just as he stabs her.
Yeah, and there's
like, oh my God.
That tiny evaluation period after each stab, too. That just, it's like, he's thinking about it. And then he pulls it out, and he stabs again, and he's thinking about it. It's like if you just blindly went for her.
Yeah.
Like, I would get like a psychopathic rage, but it's not that at all.
No.
It's something else entirely, and at that point, you don't know what it really is.
Yeah.
But he has that fucking creepy smile afterwards.
Oh, God. I know.
So you're like, oh, well, there's part of what it is. But he goes home, he takes a shower. The dog tells him to confess, as it does.
Yeah. His good side. Yeah. The angel's like, hey, you probably should just tell somebody what happened.
They know you're a good boy.
Yeah.
Just tell them what happened. It'll all work out. And then the cat counter is like, no, you'll go to fucking prison and you'll get raped on a daily basis. And it's like, whoa, kitty.
Oh my gosh. I was noticing he has a tattoo on his leg. Is that like just an actual Ryan Reynolds tattoo, or is that like the character's tattoo, I wonder?
Oh, I don't know. Jerry does not seem like the type of person to have tattoos.
No, I know. So I just thought it was kind of interesting when I noticed that. But yeah, and then like so the next day he goes back to where he left the body at, Fiona's body. And I just think that it's hilarious that it's just like it's surrounded by these pretty white wildflowers and some of her clothes are cut, but she's not bloody anymore. Like he just kind of sees her as just like, oh, kind of like a pristine white angel still, pretty much.
There's fucking butterflies.
Yeah.
They're really creepy by this point.
Yes.
But of course, we've already noted that he is not seeing the world in the same perspective.
Right.
So we know that something's been altered if he's looking at her like this.
Right.
So when he leaves behind a shoe and her dress.
I don't know, it looked like there was like entrails or something. I was trying to figure out what that was.
Okay, I was like, huh, and I didn't want to go back and look at it. So
Yeah, because it's kind of, I mean, I'm seeing this again. It just looks like there's like just I'm not entirely sure what that is, honestly. It is yuckiness, yeah. And then, he's at the hardware store getting stuff to...
And who does he run into but the sheriff?
The sheriff, yeah. I just think it's hilarious, like, the amount of Tupperware containers that he has. Because you kind of, well, you can wonder yourself, you don't know yet what those Tupperware containers are for. We find out later. But you look at it and you're just kind of like...
Town is. Like, someone saw him buying all those.
Right, like all the Tupperware containers, which, I mean, I guess wouldn't be totally off. Like, you wouldn't think, oh, murder or anything like that when you see Tupperware containers. And he buys, like, just the stuff that he has, it's just slightly off, but it's not, like, enough to make it seem apparent. It's not like he was buying a shovel and a bucket and, like, a container of acid and a rope and a tarp and a saw or something like that.
He bought some of that because he did have the saw kit because when the sheriff came up,
that's what he was just like a hardware kit. So it was like, it's got multiple things in it. It's very possible he could have been buying that just to have at his house or whatever. It's got the saw and some other little tools and things. And then Tupperware containers. So yeah. I mean, but he looks at his truck and it's all banged up and stuff. He's like, what happened? What happened here? Because there's blood all over the dashboard and the windshield's gone and it's all just cardboard boxed up in the front and yeah.
And this is a small enough town, far enough north, where it's a very common thing for that to happen. Because the sheriff's not worried about it at all. He's more concerned about the deer meat.
Right.
So he's going to go back and find that deer, and that's how they find the entrails and stuff, I bet. Like I mentioned. And then we get the checklist from the therapist. So we know that he's a liar because he's actively lying against her. He doesn't want to take his medication. He's an asshat. So he actually actively admits to stopping the medication entirely. We get the indication the medication is mandatory, and then he can actually go to prison for it.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. And then that was the first time I realized he lived above a bowling alley. I don't think that was really clear for a while.
Yeah, they probably don't make it super apparent to begin with. And it doesn't appear to be like, I don't think it's an active bowling alley. I think it's like an abandoned deal.
Well, we never see it when it's open. So it could be that it's a small town and it's only open during the day.
Yeah.
Because once he goes down there, it doesn't look like it's abandoned. It just looks like it's closed down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
So he starts sawing her up, putting containers like you were talking about. I don't know if I'm disappointed or not that he didn't have sex with the body. Like, you think he's so lonely and everything that, like, there would be that element to it?
Maybe he did, we just don't know.
But, like, maybe that's the indication that it's not a sexual thing about being lonely and being disconnected from the universe. It's more about the killing aspect.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm still unclear on it. Well, we can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So the pets look super hungry the whole time he's doing it, which I felt bad that they could possibly be that hungry. Or if it was just his perspective.
Yeah.
So, and then, like, I don't know what the hell he was cutting on that he couldn't make it happen, because he switched from, like, using the saw to using a cleaver.
Right. Just, it looks like the legs, because she's got the legs dangling off, so maybe just part of the, like, that main meaty leg part or something, who knows.
Yeah, and I just thought about it, like, obviously he had to do something with her pelvis, so he obviously saw her naked bits. Like,
oh yeah,
was that not a thing to address? I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to have some aspect of it that wasn't horrible.
Right.
But like,
I think I would probably be pushing it a little bit.
Yeah, I was just curious. It's like, it's his dream girl. What does he do when he gets to her vulva or whatever? Like, what is the reaction there? I want to know what's going on in his head. I don't necessarily want to see her naked, but like, I would think like that would be a big moment in his head, especially since he's so detached. But
yeah, like maybe have him bring out the bottle of lube and the unicorn.
Your fantasy there, not mine.
Hey, I'm talking about the Deadpool thing.
I like my women intact, Sid.
Remember, because he's whacking off to the unicorn and Deadpool.
The police are going to visit you after this podcast. No, so then, like, we actually see blood dripping down on the carpet, so we know things are fucked up.
Yeah.
He washes his hands and keeps the head. I don't know why I felt that the order of that was necessary. So the head goes in the freezer, like you do when you're a serial killer.
Yeah.
He concentrates the pills. The cat argues with them. Fiona starts yelling at him to take the medication, and so he does.
Yeah.
I have no idea what aspect of himself Fiona is supposed to represent at that point. No idea. Because... Oh, no, the medicine messes him up because he has these fucked up dreams. And we really shorten that down to just Dad's an asshole and hates him and his son for having a disability.
Yeah.
And it's actually his stepdad, but we don't know that at that point. And he wakes up and, like, he sees the world without the perspective, so we know the pills are working. He's obviously upset that the cat and the dog don't talk because he's alone again, so we do see that in that scene, at least, that it's about a connection to the other world, or the rest of the world in particular.
Yeah. Well, then you're just kind of, like, seeing what the reality is, too, of, like, what his life really is like. Because, like, you see the house, and it looks totally clean and normal. Like you know, I wouldn't mind hanging out there, like, if somebody invited me back to their place or something. And, but yeah, then, like, when he wakes up, shit's gross. There's, like, just crap everywhere. It's like a hoarder house. And, yeah. So, I'm gonna have to leave in, like, 15 minutes. I just warned you to beware.
Damn it, Sid.
I know, I'm sorry. I'll let you know all the time.
Okay, so let me just shotgun the rest of this, then we'll just do a wrap up here in the last 10. So he wakes up, he sees, he puts the pills down the sink, he wakes up, Fiona's talking to him, the dog's talking to him, Fiona convinces him to go kill Lisa, fucking butterflies, Mr. Kowalski's looking for Fiona, he's watching fucking animals have sex on TV. The pets start talking again. The cat wants him to kill again because it helps him feel alive. Jerry goes to see Lisa. No! I scream. Lisa asks him out for drinks. They actually get, like, really intimately in conversation, and because she's just into him for who knows why. And she gives the I'm not a slut conversation. He drives out into the fucking woods for some reason. Turns out to be his childhood home. He talks about his family. We get information about his mom because we know she was crazy too.
Yeah.
It turns out that she had him kill him. And that'll fuck you up.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. And so, like, he starts having flashbacks, and he's getting on really well with Lisa, despite all this. So he puts the knife that he planned to murder her with down. Ugh. And so, like, they go back and kissy, smush, smush. And then there's Lisa's kitty, coffee the next morning, where they have, like, this really great conversation, and he determines he wants to turn his life around without in the influence of medication. Which I was really excited about, because it was like, oh, we finally get my rom-com on. And, like, she even invites him to go fuck in the coffee room. Like, she gets other people involved in that plot. I was really surprised about that. She's supposed to be the mousy character.
Right.
So they go home, the dog's happy, the cat demands food, which I actually thought was entertaining. Fiona's angry because he didn't kill Lisa, and he's actually standing up to him. Let's see.
He's sitting there talking to Fiona's head again, too, on the coffee table. And
yeah, that was really odd. Like, when he just took it out and put it on the counter for a little bit, that was fine.
Yeah.
But at the coffee table watching TV together was a little too much.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, is that my new friend?" So I think there's just, like, there's a little part of him that's kind of starting to resurface again. That's just sort of going back to the cat, you know, Mr. Whiskers' idea of, like, oh, yeah, you should kill again. And so he's got that kind of floating around the back of his head, and that's where she's kind of voicing that.
There's a very, very important conversation about, like, what a serial killer is. Is he good? Is he bad? Or is he just simply that?
Right.
Like, and then, of course, Lisa comes over, and it's because the head's on the table that it fucks everything up. And he actually admitted to her that his pets talk, and she laughs it off because she's a wonderful person.
Right.
And then she sees the gross apartment. She starts freaking out. She finally sees the head. She can't bring herself to actually look at it. She freaks out, but he comes back in. He chases her a bunch, honestly, too much, into the bedroom, and then I think he breaks her neck when he tosses her onto the bed. She actually goes over it a little bit and hits her neck on the bookshelf behind.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think when he actually kills her, I don't think she can move, so she has to watch it happen.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so it's really bad.
Right.
But at this point, like, people are starting to catch on. Like, people can't reach people. Lisa's likable enough that everyone cares. And there's two women missing now in a small town. So Allison comes over. I don't know why these fucking people kept coming over. I guess because Jerry's such a nice guy.
Yeah, I guess.
But she comes over and he kills Allison too. And he's yelling at all the voices in his head. He admits to the therapist a bunch of stuff and kidnaps her.
Yep.
Which was actually impressive. He didn't just kill her right away. Because he took her out to the field to do that, is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then she actually talked him out of it somehow. Still not sure on that one. They go home, and then back at his house, the nasty coworkers are investigating themselves and actually find everything and call the police. So when he finally brings the therapist home, the police are already on their way. He's upset his pets are missing. He goes looking for his pets, comes back. Mr. Whiskers is sitting on top of her for whatever reason, because cats. And then the police raid his place. He crawls through the duct, and I felt so bad for that fucking cat sitting in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, I know.
It just looked so frightened and scared. His tail's proofed up. He's just all concerned. Probably because like 6 people off camera are like making noise to keep him where he's at.
Yeah.
Because it's a cat. But he leaves Mr. Whiskers behind. I was waiting for him to like put him in his mouth and carry him down.
Aww.
But like he leaves Mr. Whiskers behind. He comes down and he kicks out a gas pipe, which I thought he did on accident. In retrospect, he did it on purpose. It's like he actually had that all planned. So like, of course, everything goes south. Something sets off the gas. The whole apartment goes up. So Mr. Whiskers has to be the first one dead, which is fucked up.
Poor Mr. Whiskers.
The whole thing burns down. So that means they lost all the evidence.
Yeah.
But he also, it looks like he dies in the fire as well. Because we got this weird afterlife image or whatever you want to call it, where it seems like he's in limbo or heaven or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just the dream before he dies. But it looks like the 80s, because he's in like some weird suit. Is that the right time period? 70s or 80s?
Yeah, I would say it's like probably, like late 70s or something like that.
Oh my god, and then Sing a Happy Song?
Oh my god, was that not just the weirdest ending to that movie?
Well, because that's the whole point, is that it just suddenly ends.
Yeah.
And like that's the entire point of the ending. And so it actually really worked that they changed it into like some weird music video for the end of it. But Sing a Happy Song is going to fucking haunt me for the rest of my life. Because there is nothing creepier than for like a slasher killer movie to put like something happy related to it. Ugh. So with that said, Sid, how do you feel about the voices?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I like weird movies, and I like that they kind of make you think, and that they're unusual, and they're not something that you're like expecting to have happen. I like to be surprised, and so that's what this movie did, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I think I really liked it as well. I don't know how many times I'm going to rewatch it, but it's got so many interesting aspects from a cinematographic or psychological point of view, which is why I liked it, because I was just psychoanalyzing him the whole time.
Yeah.
And then myself, because it's like, oh, he has a weird amount of things that I'm actually relating to in here, like obviously not killing people, putting them in my fucking fridge. But the therapist made a lot of good points. It's like he's actually exhibiting things that everyone experiences.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how you deal with it. So, would you recommend this to other people, though?
Definitely. I think it depends on the person. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to somebody who's just like wanting a movie to watch that I don't know very well. I think I have to know that they're the type of person that is willing to watch something that's a little bit unique and a little bit dark. And you have to be in a certain mood to watch it too, I think.
Yeah, I'd be very wary about who you recommend this to, I would say.
I agree.
If you want to ruin someone's date night or something, this is actually a good one for that. Like, you want to like slightly damage them in some way, this is actually a good movie for that. Because if you don't know what you're getting into and you actually sit through the whole thing, I feel for you.
Yeah.
As much as I like it, I don't think I would put this on a recommends list. Because I would very easily put this on a list of great movies you won't enjoy.
Music.
I just think it's one of those movies you gotta have like that extra something. Sing a happy song, sing a happy song.
Oh God, I know.
Okay, so with that said, because you're on a fucked up time limit.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, it's all your fault.
I have to head out.
Next week's movie is going to be V for Vendetta.
Yes.
And I apologize if it's not available everywhere, but I have it, so I can watch it. Sid has access to a copy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to continue this trend of comic book movies that aren't Marvel or DC for the moment, and we'll see how much longer it lasts. Yeah, if you like what we're talking about or what we're seeing, and we forgot to do it at the beginning again.
And I was going to say we're moving to Monday night, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do it on Monday night, so this will be a shorter turnaround this week than we're used to so far. But you can tweet at us at WeAreMovieClub. Let us know that like you're watching and you enjoy the show, or that you want to get involved, because we definitely have slots available.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that eventually.
I agree. Yes, come join us.
Yes. So yeah, at WeAreMovieClub on the Twitters is probably the best way to do it. And yeah, get involved. V for Vendetta next week. If you got time to watch it this week and watch it, and come watch us and talk about things. Yeah. And we are on all the things: YouTube, UStream, Fire Talk, YouNow, SoundCloud, and Podbean. Just check the description for links if you want to connect up that way. But I think that's it, right?
Yep, that's the end.
Until you see us next time, I am Camerai.
And I'm Creepy Campy.
And this is #We Are
Movie Club.
If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.